I call to order the April 24 meeting of the Lake Mills Plan Commission and will proceed with roll call.
Mr. Foster?
Here.
Mr. Holman?
Here.
Ms. Lazaris?
Here.
Mr. Schumacher?
Here.
Mr. Magnuson?
Here.
Mr. Pearson?
Here.
Mr. Coots?
Here.
All right. Then next comes item number 3, correction and/or approval of the minutes of March 27, 2018. Are there any comments concerning these minutes? Would anyone care to make a motion concerning the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the Plan Commission meeting minutes of March 27th, 2018.
All right.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, then we'll proceed with a roll call vote.
Mr. Holman?
Abstain.
Ms. Lazaris?
Aye.
Mr. Schumacher?
Aye.
Mr. Magnuson?
Abstain.
Mr. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Coots?
Aye.
Mr. Foster?
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0.
Next is item number 4, questions and public comment. The public may address the commission at this time regarding items on the agenda unless that item is the subject of a public hearing. If your comments pertain to a public hearing, please hold your comments until the hearing. Item number 9, a public hearing for rezoning property at 805 Linden Street is removed from the agenda at the request of the petitioner. However, we do have 2 public hearings this evening. Item number 5, future land use map amendment involving 4 parcels. First, a parcel on County Road B across from Tyranina Park by the intersection of County B and Tyranina Park Road from single-family residential to mixed residential. Second, 805 Elm Street from single-family residential to planned business. Third, a parcel being split off of Lakeside Lutheran High School's property, which we saw the last time, creating a residential lot off of Ferry Drive from community institutional facilities to single-family residential. And fourth, a parcel west of Real Hope Community Church at the intersection of Brookstone Drive and Crestview Lane from community institutional facilities to single-family residential. The second public hearing is item number 7, a zoning amendment request by Real Hope Community Church for rezoning a parcel west of the church from rural development to single-family residential. Public comment may also be made at this time on items that are not on the agenda if you have registered already with the city clerk. The state's open meeting law discourages action by the commission on items not listed on the agenda. Please keep your comments limited to 3 minutes. State your name and address when starting your comments. Also fill out the sign-in sheet at the lectern. Are there any public comments at this time? All right, then we'll proceed with item number 5. Public hearing, future land use map amendment, parcels 246-0713-1112-008 along County Road B from single-family residential to mixed residential. Parcel 246-0713-1223-009 along Elm Street, Linden Street from single-family residential to planned business. Part of parcel 246-0713-1444-000 along Ferry Drive and Milton Street from community institutional facilities to single-family residential. And 246-0714-1814-025 along Crestview Lane from community institutional facilities to single-family residential. First, we'll proceed with, we have our consulting planner, Mark Sauer here, and first I would just ask Mr. Sauer if you would do an overview of these proposed future land use map amendments.
Absolutely. The first one is related to near the intersection of Brookstone Drive and Crestview Lane. It's related to the other 2 items later on the agenda. It is a changing the future land use related to a single-family development proposal. It's changing from rural, RD rural development to R1 single-family residential 4. So this is really the accompanying map amendment, assuming that Plan Commission takes action on those items later on. City Council will take final action on the map change. The second one is located at 805 Elm Street. City Council approved the rezoning of this property from RD Rural Development to Planned Business at its December 5th, 2017 meeting. So it's something you guys heard back in 2017 and approved. Really, this is cleaning these sort of 4 map amendments up. I think that was summarized well by Steve at the last meeting in March, where he just kind of mentioned there's a lot of these coming. This is that. The third one is 231 Woodland Beach Drive, rezoned to change from R1-4 with PIO to R1-4, was made by Lakeside Lutheran High School. That, of course, was discussed in March, and really to parcel off what hopefully will become another single-family lot done by the school. And then the fourth one, located off County Highway B. This is the only one this commission has not heard before. The city has received several inquiries about the potential development of this property. Really in reevaluating the future land use, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense for it to be single family. I guess staff believes that it better aligns with sort of a mixed use or multifamily use. The surrounding land uses of it are planned mixed use, meaning Lake Mills Market and other commercial uses. I-94 is to the north, Tyranina Park is across the street to the south, and then single family is across County Highway B, but it's in the town of Lake Mills. The site contains a very large wetland on the northern portion, so we already know that a portion of the site can't be developed. Given that, it seems more appropriate that something like multifamily would allow for a little more density on the part that is allowed to be developed. So, given the surrounding uses, given the sort of inquiries we've gotten for products there, staff feels it's more appropriate to change that land use at this time, coupled with these other ones.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. Sauer. For any of these are taken as a group, however, we'll vote on them individually as motions. Is there anyone who would like to comment on any of these proposed land use map amendments? We are in public hearing. Would anyone like to comment on the proposed land use map amendments? Hearing none, I'll move on to item number 6, discussion recommendation on future land use amendments. Parcels 246071311120008 along County Road B from single-family residential to mixed residential. Parcel 246071312230009 along Elm Street, Linden Street from single-family residential to planned business. Part of parcel 246071314444000 along Ferry Drive, Milton Street from community institutional facilities to single-family residential. 246071418140025 along Crestview Lane from community institutional facilities to single-family residential. And we have several motions. We have 4 specific motions here for each of these parcels. Motions 1841, 1842, 1843, and 1844 are all Plan Commission recommendations to the City Council for the comprehensive plan future land use amendments. All of these motions do set forth city authority for land use requirements set forth in Title 10 for amending the future land use map. The land use map amendments requested, city staff review, tonight's public hearing, and plan commission review. These motions are all recommended for approval of the various requested land use map amendments. The Plan Commission will be voting on each motion individually. First, motion 1841 sets forth a requirement by city administration for land use map amendment of parcel 2460713. Set forth a request, rather, sets forth a request by city administration for land use map amendment of parcel 246071311120008. This is the one on County Road B from single-family residential to mixed residential. Do we have a map showing the requested change in future land use for that parcel?
Pam, how do you want the motions worded? Do you want them
I would
individual, or do
just
you
say, you
put them
know,
together and then vote on them individually?
No, we'll just do each one separately, so, so then, for this motion, for this parcel here at the corner of Tyranina and County B, across from Tyranina Park, that is the parcel, and that is the one the city administration has requested for changing the land use map from single-family designation to mixed residential. And that is what motion 1841 does. Staff and Plan Commission, are there any comments or questions concerning this requested amendment to the land use map?
Define mixed residential.
Condos. Condos.
Condos.
Could it be apartments?
You better answer that one. I don't think so. That's I think an R16 or an R12.
Okay.
Mixed. This zoning is more of a condo. It allows for some more mixed uses like single family duplex, zero lot lines. So it's it's a little bit more comprehensive than a single family.
Right.
The proposal is condos.
And it may allow for clustering of the residences
Tighter.
because of the conditions.
Right.
Yeah.
You have a lot of open space in there that can't be built on.
Okay. Plan Commissioners, are there any comments or questions concerning this particular land use map amendment? Would anyone like to make a motion regarding the prepared motion 1841, which recommends approval of this change to the land use map?
I would move for passage of Plan Commission motion 18-4-1.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to pass motion 1841. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, then we'll proceed with the roll call vote.
Mrs. Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Schumacher?
Aye.
Mr. Magnuson?
Aye.
Mr. Pearson? Mr. Coots?
Aye.
Mr. Foster?
Aye.
Mr. Holman?
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Okay. Next, we have motion 1842, which set forth a request by MJLM Holdings LLC for land use map amendment of parcel 246-0713-1223-009-805 Elm Street from single-family residential to planned business. And this motion also shows a recommendation of to the City Council to approve this this future land use map amendment. And we can see that on the screen. Could you point to it, Mark, then, if you would, please? Okay, very good. Yeah, we have seen this before. Staff and Plan Commission, are there any comments, questions concerning this proposed change in the land use map?
As Mark noted, it's house cleaning. We've already
Right.
rezoned this to
Yeah.
planned business.
Yeah, correct, yeah. Yeah, we had already taken care of that. All right. Is there anyone who wishes to make a motion now concerning motion 1842?
I'll make a motion to approve motion 1842.
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Where was the other parcel, that withdrawal? Was that right next door to that? Just curious.
Yeah, we put that back up and then point to the parcel that was withdrawn this evening. No, I think it's across from it.
It's right
Is
here.
it not?
That's correct. That's
Yeah.
the right one.
You've got two here that are the same thing.
Okay.
It's also the same thing right here.
And that was
So yeah,
for,
that was it right there.
that's for annexation.
Yes, that was an
That's
annexation request.
yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Is there any further, we do have a motion and a second to approve motion 1842. Is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none, then we'll proceed with the roll call vote.
Mr. Schumacher?
Aye.
Mr. Magnuson?
Aye.
Mr. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Coots?
Aye.
Mr. Foster?
Aye.
Mr. Holman?
Aye.
Ms. Lazarus?
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
The next motion is 1843. This sets forth a request by Lakeside Lutheran High School for a land use amendment for a portion of parcel 246071314444000 from community institutional facilities to single-family residential. This is a matter we took up the last time, and this would be a splitting off of that that top ear, if you will, of that entire property, creating therefore a single-family lot. And Mr. Sawyer is pointing to that now. And staff and Plan Commission, are there any comments or questions concerning this proposed land use amendment?
It's hard to see here, but it's a parcel that's tucked in between two houses, so it's really kind of a unusual dog ear on the north edge of it
Yeah.
that's not really useful to the school district, so selling it off is. And everything else are single-family residential, so it's very consistent.
Mhm. All right. Would anyone care to make a motion concerning motion 1843?
I'll make a motion to approve motion 18-4-3.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve motion 1843. Is there any further discussion? All right. Hearing none, then we'll proceed with the roll call vote.
Mr. Magnuson?
Aye.
Mr. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Coots?
Aye.
Mr. Foster?
Aye.
Mr. Holman?
Aye.
Ms. Lazarus?
Aye.
Mr. Schumacher?
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Okay. The next one is motion 1844. This sets forth a request by Real Hope Community Church for a land use map amendment to parcel 24607141814-025, located west of the church at the intersection of Brookstone Drive and Crestview Lane, from community institutional facilities to single-family residential. And Mr. Sawyer is now pointing at that parcel, which is distinct, it is a distinct parcel. The church, where the church sits is a parcel itself, and where this is sitting is its own parcel. Staff and Plan Commissioner, are there any comments or questions concerning this future land use map amendment?
For motion 4 here, should we hold off on that until after items 7 and 8 on the agenda? Just to give the public a chance to say anything in case that
It's
would.
probably appropriate.
No, it's not. Land use is supposed to come before the zoning. We historically have let it slide, but no, it's all right to do the land use map first.
Okay.
In fact, it's more appropriate.
All right.
I can tell you that they bought that 13 acres from Riverwood Properties. It was 13 acres. As you probably know, 10 acres is the maximum. Everything over 10 acres gets taxed, even if it's owned by a church. So they subdivided that parcel off with the intent of selling it because they don't have any need for it, and they wanted to get down below the 10 acres. So this puts them below the 10 acres. Everything around it is single family except for the church, which is a community facility. So it pretty much fits. We just throw an overlay over any type of zoning to put a church in. You notice the other one was where the church is where Lakeside High School was single family residential. This is residential rural development. And so it's not unusual to see this type of conversion. And anything that we annex, like when you looked at the Elm Street one, anything that we annex without a request for zoning coming in consistent with it, it automatically defaults to RD. So just because you see RD on it doesn't mean that was the intent for the long-term zoning. That just means that we annexed it without any request.
Plan commissioners, would anyone care to make a motion concerning motion 1844?
So moved. I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to pass motion 1844. Is there any further discussion?
So if they do develop up in there, is there going to be any issues with the current water, sewer, things like that might have to be upgraded?
No, it's all built more than heavy enough to handle what's being proposed here. They'll have to put in all the water and sewer laterals,
Right.
which will dig up the street. But the city's going to come in and do a mill and overlay, and then they're going to do a share on that with the developer, consistent with what they would have had to pay if they had to cut them and asphalt them. But a mill and overlay, you don't get all those trenches.
Right.
Get a better pavement surface.
Okay.
All right. It's been moved and seconded to pass motion 1844. Is there any discussion? Okay. All right, hearing none, then we'll call roll call vote.
Mr. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Coots?
Aye.
Mr. Foster?
Aye.
Mr. Holman?
Aye.
Ms. Lazaris?
Aye.
Mr. Schumacher?
Aye.
Mr. Magnuson?
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
Okay. Those are all the land use map amendments. All right, the next item number 7, public hearing zoning amendment request, Real Hope Community Church, 1345 Stonehedge Lane, for the purpose of changing the zoning of the property located on Crestview Lane, parcel 2460714-1814-025, from rural development to single-family residential district. Now, first, I'd like to start, Mr. Sawyer, if you would give an overview of the requested zoning amendment. And again, showing the parcel.
Yep, so there's the parcel with an aerial. As Steve mentioned, 3.4 acre site. The request is to rezone from RD to R14, single family, to accommodate the development of 8 single family lots, as we'll talk about with the Plat. I guess, partnering on what Steve had said, Real Hope Community Church immediately has created this parcel as part of the development of the church. And so this is now really just development of that. The zoning on surrounding properties, RD, within the project area, residential, RD to the north, R14 single family to the south, RD to the east, and R312 multifamily to the west, but that is across Brookstone. And that graphic illustrates the zoning currently. Really, the purpose of the R14 district is to accommodate lower density single-family residential. The RD is basically really low density, so this is just a little more density, much more aligned with R1. Let's see, the future, according to the comprehensive plan, the following for single-family residential is specified. The future land use category is intended for mainly single-family housing in the city and on municipal sanitary sewer and water. City zoning districts that correspond most closely with this land use category are the R1 and R2 districts. Generally, the trend for the area is continued single-family land use in the established neighborhood. Really, this is double loading the lot or the street that's already there to complement what's across the street. Proposed zoning amendment will continue to promote the development and investment of the area. The proposed rezoning complies with the written recommendations of the comp plan, specifically to encourage single-family development to occur on lots less than 15,000 square feet in the area. So, based on evaluation of key findings of fact, which are outlined in the memo, staff recommends the Plan Commission recommend approval of the rezoning for the following reasons. The proposed map amendment will further single-family investment in the area. The proposed zoning map amendment is compatible with the trends for development in the area. The proposed R14 district zoning for the property in question conforms to the goals expressed in Chapter 3, Land Use of the adopted comprehensive plan. The proposed development is compatible with the city's intent to encourage single-family development to occur on lots less than 15,000 square feet or less in the area, and the rezoning is conditioned upon amending the future land use map from community institutional facility to single-family residential, which was just done, and the approval of the preliminary plat, which will be the next item on the agenda.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Sawyer. This is the public hearing. Would anyone like to comment on the proposed zoning amendment request for this parcel? Is there anyone who wishes to comment on the proposed zoning amendment request? I'm hearing none. We close the public hearing and go on to item number 8, discussion recommendation on zoning amendment request, Real Hope Community Church, 1345 Stonehedge Lane, for the purpose of changing the zoning of the property located on Crestview Lane, parcel 24607141814-025, from rural development to single-family residential district. We have before us the prepared motion 1845. This sets forth the city zoning authority under Wisconsin state statutes, the city requirements for zoning set forth in Title 10, the zoning amendment request itself from rural development to single-family residential, city staff review, tonight's public hearing, and plan commission review. The motion does show a recommendation of approval by the plan commission from rural development to single-family zoning, which applies only to the 3.4 acre piece being purchased by Loose Homes and shown by a certified survey map. Plan Commission and staff, are there any comments concerning this motion 1845 and the proposed rezoning?
You probably remember the original plan is set out by Brookstone Homes and Vandewall and Associates, which basically at that time was Mike Slavny for us. This site was a convenience store in the original plan.
Right.
it was done as a kind of a PDD where they would do the zoning as the changes occurred. And so for a long time it stayed ag with an overlay on it, and then when the church bought it, it became RD. And so it's probably more consistent with the rest of the development than what was originally proposed, and lower use. So I don't think that there's any substantive change in the community there.
Plan commissions, do you have any comments concerning this requested rezoning? Would anyone care to make a motion concerning this motion 1845?
I move for passage of Plan Commission Motion 18-4-5 zoning amendment.
Second.
So moved and second to pass motion 1845. Is there any further discussion? In that case, we'll proceed with roll call vote.
Mr. Coots?
Aye.
Mr. Foster?
Aye.
Mr. Holman?
Aye.
Ms. Lazaris?
Aye.
Mr. Schumacher?
Aye.
Mr. Magnuson?
Aye.
Mr. Pearson?
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
As mentioned at the beginning, item number 9, which was a zoning amendment request concerning 805 Linden Street, was removed at the request of the petitioner, and the withdrawal letter is contained on your screens. So we move to item number 10, discussion and recommendation on preliminary plat, Crestview Meadows, parcel 2460714, 1814025. And here we have prepared motion 1846, preliminary plat approval, Crestview Meadows subdivision. This motion sets forth the city's authority under Wisconsin state statutes for subdivision standards and procedures, the subdivision and application by Crestview Meadows, and request for preliminary plat approval. City staff review by the Public Works Board in its recommendation of approval. The review by Planning Commission this evening, motion 1846, does provide recommendation of approval for the Crestview Meadows preliminary plat, subject to meeting requirements in the planners and engineers memos, and subject to the City Council's approval of R1 for zoning, and subject to all supporting documents being submitted in final form within 120 days. Mr. Sawyer, would you like to give an overview of the proposed plat and we see it on the screen. Thank you.
Yep.
So.
Briefly, it's 8 single-family units. You can see as they lay out here compared to the aerial previously. Brookstone is on the left, the northwest, and Crestview is on the south. Zoning we sort of talked about with the last one, obviously conformance to the master plan. With the change in zoning, the change in future land use, this conforms well to the master plan with proposed single-family development. Preliminary plat, lot width and area requirements. With the rezoning of the R14 district, lots are required to have a minimum width of 80 feet at the base setback line and a minimum area of 10,000 square feet. And all the proposed lots exceed the area and width requirements, so they're good there. Regarding setbacks, required setbacks are illustrated on the plat. 30 feet from right of way, 10 feet from one side, and 15 feet from the other. That's actually in the memo incorrect. These side setbacks are not shown on here. They need to be a minimum 10 feet and some 25 feet. I was talking to the petitioner before, indicated that they are actually 12 and a half each. We just need that to be shown on the plat so that it's clear to everybody. So that revision needs to be made on the plat. Access and circulation, this is kind of the the issue here. Access to the development is provided from Brookstone Drive and Crestview Lane. Staff is recommending the following restrictions, and I will provide this other graphic. The restrictions, I'll read them real quick and then show you. Access to County B should be prohibited. You can see there just that tiny little piece that touches County Highway B. There's really no room to put a drive in there anyway. Lot 1, which is the corner, staff recommends that no access to Brookstone Drive be permitted within 75 feet of County Highway B, and I believe that is a city requirement in the code anyway. So that needs to be noted on the plat. And then with Lot 1 as well, no access to Crestview Lane within 20 feet of the intersection with Brookstone Drive. So on that corner, again, restricting 20 feet. The city engineer has, in his memo, outlined potentially prohibiting access on Brookstone Drive completely from to Lot 1 due to the fact that County Highway B is 40 miles an hour and the radii at that corner really allow people to kind of turn quickly onto Brookstone. I would ask that Plan Commission have that discussion tonight. We'll note the southwest corner. If we go back to the aerial here. This corner is a cornfield. City engineer also mentioned that during harvest season that may be tall crop, which prohibits visibility somewhat in that corner. So that's the rationale he provided there. Regarding sidewalks, the city subdivision regulations require sidewalks be installed along Brookstone Drive, Crestview Lane. We understand from the petitioner that that is the intent. It will just happen after really the lots are building, once the lots are built out. As you mentioned, the Public Works Board recommended approval of the plat with the conditions mentioned in the memo and that I've kind of just outlined here. And then regarding utilities, as Steve mentioned, sanitary sewer and water are located beneath Brookstone Drive and Crestview Lane, and there really is no issue there with utilities. They will be provided to the lots. So. So you can faintly see there the red on the north is that 75-foot distance up here. And then the 20 feet from the intersection is about that distance. So it leaves, call it 30 feet on the south.
Excuse me, you're recommending no entrance onto Brookstone Drive at all from that lot?
The engineer thought it might be advisable. I think this is what the planner is recommending.
Okay, thank you.
The engineer had a little comment about stormwater.
There is stormwater design basically laid out along the site. The engineer made some minimal comments on it, but really won't be done until the final plat. It's more along the concepts of can it be done and will it work, and that yes, they will.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sawyer and Mr. Wilkie. Planning Commissioners, do you have any comments, questions concerning the preliminary plat? As Mr. Sawyer mentioned, this motion does condition the approval on the items contained, the requirements contained in the planners and engineers memos, which does include what he talked about for distance
it seems to me like there's plenty of room for a driveway there. Or, I mean, would you just limit it to just that bottom section down there?
Yeah, the limit would just be 20 feet from the intersection, so they would have all that room to the southeast.
But no access to Brookstone?
Now, this one allows access to
Yeah, so-
Brookstone.
I know, but.
The engineer's suggestion was not to allow it onto Brookstone. So you'd have to make an adjustment to the motion to go with the engineer's suggestion. The engineer was, I don't know about the row crops. I drive that intersection every week. I don't see the row crops being an issue. The traffic coming off of County Highway B into Brookstone is coming in pretty quickly. Coming out, it's a typical subdivision.
This-
Traffic's
this-
probably moving 30 to 35.
This seems logical to me.
It looks like everyone,
Your row crops are not a long-term thing, I don't think either.
No, they're not a long-term thing either. Making the row crops an issue is, but
It
they're
seems to
usually
make
back,
sense.
they're
It makes
usually
sense.
back far enough from that intersection that if you're headed east on B and you're turning into Brookstone, the visibility there is still generally good enough that you're not gonna come around that corner and be surprised. It does, if you go with the engineer's suggestion, it really limits the type of house you construct on
Yeah.
the site.
I agree.
Is that intersection back up, do you know, coming onto the highway? I know I've driven by it and seen a line of cars coming in that way, so if you put a driveway, you might end up with a problem getting in and out of there. I don't know.
That's why it's
how far-
suggested to be 75 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, that
How
was
often do you
in
see
the
traffic
morning.
backed up
I
more
get
than
backed up in the
Sunday
morning once
mornings,
in a while.
maybe?
But not very often.
Well, Little League games, but not very often. And I think we'll fix the Little League games this year.
Yeah.
We may change the traffic flow patterns in the subdivision substantially by the end of the year.
Yeah.
okay, planning commissions, do you have any more comments or questions concerning this preliminary plat? We have motion 1846. Would anyone care to make a motion concerning the prepared motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
So moved and seconded to pass motion 1846, preliminary plat approval, Crestview Meadows subdivision. Is there any further discussion? Okay. All right, hearing none, we'll proceed with roll call vote.
Mr. Foster?
Aye.
Mr. Holman?
Aye.
Ms. Lazaris?
Aye.
Mr. Schumacher?
Aye.
Mr. Magnuson?
All right,
Mr. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Coots?
Aye.
Motion passed 7-0.
The next item, item number 11, recommendations for future agendas. And do we have a preview of May at this time?
Public hearing for the boathouse.
We have a conditional use for a boathouse. It's the only one I know of.
All right. Okay. Okay, anything else concerning future agendas? All right. Hearing none, we go on to item number 12, adjournment. Who wishes to speak to adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Adjourned.